Good morning. Welcome to our 30-minute live Q&A. I'm Ify, your go-to immigration lawyer, and I'm here again, as usual, to answer your immigration questions and to talk about a very important immigration topic that will help you in your marriage green card process. So come on in, stay tuned, and let's get into the tips for today and answer your questions at the end. All right? Today, we're discussing essential tips that will help you for your interview preparation. This is a very important topic, guys. Those of you applying through marriage, you know that an interview is required. So we'll discuss some tips to help you prepare. We also have Denise with us today for our Spanish translation. Hi, Denise. Hola.
Hola, hola a todos, gracias por tenerme aquí. Como comenta aquí Ify, vamos hoy a discutir los temas más importantes, cómo prepararnos en nuestra entrevista, ¿ok? Pongan atención a nuestros tips.
Sí, gracias. Muy importante for your interview preparation, which is a determining factor for your decision. If you bomb your interview, guys, you could get denied right away. So your interview is a crucial part of this process. I'm excited to help you if you need any type of immigration help with getting prepared or just filing your marriage-based green card straight up. We can help you with that. And especially this month is more exciting to join the law firm because we're celebrating love this month. It's February. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day, actually. We're excited to still be offering our 50% off consultations for the month of love and also to honor our Black history. This is Black History Month as well, so let's not forget that. As immigrants, we have a lot of culture and heritage and things that we enjoy during this time and also honor. So join us at this firm. Let's help you get your immigration together and also get you access to legal service through our discounts and offers throughout the month of February. All right, adelante.
Muy bien, entonces pues recuerden también que para este mes estamos celebrando dos cosas, el amor y también el mes de nuestra historia como raza negra. Es muy importante porque como emigrantes tenemos muchísima cultura y muchísima historia que también es necesario celebrar por parte de nuestra sociedad. Y recuerden, para celebrarlo tenemos el 50% de descuento en nuestros servicios si necesitan que llenemos el papel para su green card o algún papeleo que sea necesario arreglar alrededor de su estatus. No duden en acompañarnos. Estamos listos.
Gracias, Denise. Today I have 5 tips and I'm going to run through them pretty quickly. I know you all have questions today for our live, so make sure you're leaving them in the comments so that I can answer them by the time we get to the end. Oh, I didn't get our TikTok guys to join us. But anyways, for right now, we'll start into the first tip. The first tip to help you with preparing for your green card application is gathering all required documents. I hope you're taking notes, guys. Gather all required documents. It is essential that you have all the required documents before the interview so that you have the opportunity to add some more documents to your application, one, and then also provide the original documents, like if you submitted a copy of your marriage license, for example. Make sure that you have the original marriage license at your interview so that if you're asked, you have it to present. So that's tip number 1, gather all required documents. Got it?
Muy bien, entonces, pues el tip número 1, vamos a tener juntos todos nuestros papeles listos para el día de la entrevista. Por ejemplo, si tú tienes nada más entregada la copia del certificado de matrimonio, el día de la entrevista hay que tener en la mano el certificado original. Entonces es muy importante que si queremos agregar un papel extra a nuestro caso, sea el día de la entrevista y que vayamos con ello ordenado.
Gracias, Denise. That was very good. I heard the original marriage license. That's needed for sure. And then tip number 2, you need to review your application properly before the interview. This is very important, muy importante, guys. Why? Because they're going to be asking you questions from your application. So if you don't review your application, before time, you might not remember, because keep in mind, this application could take 10 months to 24 months. It can really take a long time before you actually get a decision. So you're not going to remember every single thing you said, right? So in order to make sure you're not making any mistakes for your green card interview, make sure that you review the application thoroughly before you go in for the interview. Okay, that's tip number 2 to help you prepare for your marriage green card interview.
Muy bien, entonces el tip número 2 para ayudarnos cómo estar listos para nuestra entrevista. Es bien importante que estudiemos qué aplicación hicimos, porque el tiempo va a pasar, pueden pasar 10, 12 meses hasta que tengas tu entrevista y ya no recordamos qué escribimos en nuestra aplicación. Ellos nos van a hacer preguntas específicas sobre nuestra aplicación y hay que volverla a estudiar.
Gracias, Denise. This is moving on to tip number 3, but remember, y'all, you can ask questions about your marriage-based green card or any immigration process you're going through right now in this live, and I'll be sure to answer you after we go through all the tips for your green card interview preparation. All right. So number three that we just discussed, well, we haven't discussed this, but number 3 is practice your interview questions. This is important, very, very important. Practice your interview questions. Whenever I bring this up to couples, sometimes they're like, practice. Why do I need to practice? Because obviously, we're married, like it's legit, right? But when I say practice, I mean, you have to get on the same page as to what, basically what is important to both of you, like your anniversaries, your birthdays, because they're going to ask you questions like this. And if for whatever reason you get separated during the interview, you're not going to be able to look at one another and figure out, because some people maybe started dating in May, okay? Or they met each other in May and were just talking, right? But it didn't get official to like July. One person in the relationship, I think we started dating in May, or we met each other in May. Another person's like, well, no, we actually started in July. So you need to come together, discuss what's actually legit for your relationship so that when you're asked on an interview, you can have clarity. Okay, that's the reason why you need to practice. Say, okay, we met in May, but we didn't make it official till July. Now you're on the same page, okay? So that's why you need to practice your interview questions before you get called for an interview by the USCIS. Very important.
Muy bien, entonces aquí el siguiente tip es practicar nuestras preguntas. ¿Cómo vamos a responder a ellas? Porque a veces, aunque uno dice, pues, ¿cómo vamos a practicar si en realidad estamos casados? Uno puede dar una fecha de inicio de la relación. Si era en junio, puede que el otro piense que era en abril o en mayo. Entonces, es importante que los dos den los mismos resultados, las mismas preguntas, a las mismas respuestas, y entonces ya que todo haga coherencia.
Gracias. Very good. What does entonces mean?
Entonces, and so.
And so, okay, gracias. I hear you say it all the time, and I just wanted to know. So thank you very much for doing this translation. It's really helping a lot of people, helping us to reach a lot of people. So I hope that if you're listening to this right now and you are applying for a green card through marriage, or you have any other immigration concerns, you know that we do have a Spanish translator and someone who can help you within the law firm. So you can reach out to us. Our number is on the screen. ¿Sí?
Acérquense,
Gracias.
el número está en la pantalla y por favor no tengan miedo también de preguntar al final. Aquí les vamos a contestar sus dudas y pues en español siempre tienen aquí un apoyo.
Gracias. So I'll move on to the last 2 tips for this, and then after that, we'll go ahead and just get into the questions. I already see a bunch of questions coming in, so I'll make sure to answer them during the time that we have. We have 30 minutes for today, but let's get into tip number 4 for this process. Tip number 4 to help you prepare for your green card interview is to dress professionally and be punctual, be on time. Okay, very important. I know I've said very important for all these tips, but they're literally all very important. Muy importante, because if you don't have these things, your green card will just get denied for some silly misstep in the interview process, which is the last step. So you want to make sure that you're dressed professionally. You don't have to wear a suit or anything, just, business casual. Just dress clean, make sure you're on time, because if you don't attend, you could get denied. If you're late, they'll mark you as not attending, you will get denied. if you're dressed in a way, if you have certain tattoos, now this is an issue that I've seen sometimes, okay? Certain tattoos can raise questions about your admissibility because the USCIS might be concerned as to whether these tattoos, represent one thing or the other, maybe gangs and things like that. So if you do have tattoos, we'll disclose that, but make sure that you're not wearing any type of revealing clothing, right? Make sure that you're just dressed professionally because this is a serious matter. You're dealing with the government, so you just don't want to go there with your tank tops and things like that. And it's just not going to help your application. You may not get denied for a tank top, but it's just best to be professional, be on time, let them know that you take this seriously and they'll take you seriously and you get a better decision that day. Sound good? Adelante.
Muy bien, entonces bien importante, dos cosas, vestirse profesional y ser puntual. Vestirse profesional no quiere decir que vas a usar un traje, sino que tu imagen tiene que ser limpia, verse elegante, de formal casual, en el que podamos demostrarle que es importante y ellos así también nos toman en serio. Algo también que he visto a veces, cierto tipo de tatuaje expuesto puede levantar preguntas extras sobre tu aplicación, ya que ellos están preocupados por grupos criminales, lo cual qué significa tu tatuaje. Entonces, si puedes, simplemente cúbrete con una ropa profesional y pues nada más, ir limpios y puntuales.
Gracias, Denise. That was good. This is the last tip we're going to share, and then after that, we'll get into the questions. But your green card interview, not to scare you all, is that important. That's why we're sharing these tips. But sometimes your interview could even get waived, okay? If you have enough evidence in your application, or if you've been married for longer than 2 years, there are different reasons why your interview could get waived. That was happening a lot more during the COVID times, but now it's way past COVID, and I think, people are getting called for interviews more and more. But if your interview was to get waived, be happy and accept whatever happens after that. But if you do get called for an interview, I don't want you to be scared or worried. This is just a normal part of the process. The only time you might want to be concerned is if they separate you and your spouse. That's probably because they suspect that the marriage may not be legit, right? So you want to make sure that you're practicing, you're having your documents, you've discussed the night before, you're dressed professionally and all of that. And then the final thing I'll say for number 5 tip is to stay calm and be honest during your interview. Okay? It is scary to walk into a federal building. It is scary to walk into those buildings where they are, it's like an airport, right? You have to go through the metal detectors and do all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you just need to stay calm. Let them know the situation. If something is happening, let's say your spouse didn't show up because there's been abuse, just let them know, hey, listen, my spouse didn't show up because there's abuse. I need a lawyer. I need my lawyer. Because you don't want to say too much without your lawyer present, at least. But stay calm, be honest, just show up, and you get your best results doing that anyway. ¿Sí? Adelante.
Muy bien, entonces, como comentábamos aquí, es probable que lo más común sea que te llamen a una entrevista. No hay por qué preocuparse, esto es un proceso normal, general. También hay posibilidad de que se te descarte la entrevista y directamente te provean con tu solicitud, pero eso puede ser en casos como cuando ya tienes más de 2 años casado o diferentes razones, pero si te toca la entrevista del proceso normal, es importante no estar nerviosos, ser honestos, lo más transparente posible. Como dijimos aquí, estos tips parecen detalles pequeños, pero es lo más importante porque ellos realmente se fijan en ellos. Entonces, sean honestos principalmente y pónganse de acuerdo con su pareja, con qué cosas van a contestar de la misma forma para que haga sentido a la hora de la entrevista.
All right. Awesome. I'm glad we just went through all those tips right now. And I know a lot of you are listening because I see your questions relating to the interview. So I'll get to that in a little bit. But we are here to help you with your legal representation. If you find yourself in a situation whereby your spouse doesn't want to attend your interview with you, or there's threats surrounding that interview, like if you don't do this, I'm not going to go, or anything of that nature, just reach out to us. I'm Ify. I'm a licensed immigration attorney here in the USA. I can help you all over the USA. It doesn't matter where you're located. We work nationwide. So if you need that service to help you make sure you get your legal status and nothing stands in your way, I'm the guy. I'm the girl. I am the abogada inmigración.
Muy bien, tengan confianza, acérquense con AIFI si tienen algún problema en su proceso de inmigración, alguna amenaza por parte de su esposa para no atender a la entrevista, cualquier tipo de problema alrededor del matrimonio en el que se vea amenazada su proceso, toman confianza, acérquense por favor a AIFI. Ella es la chica, ella nos va a ayudar.
You said every single word, didn't you? I am here.
I tried.
That is cool. That is cool. Thank you. Thank you. So we'll get into the questions. The first one I'm going to answer is really relating to what I just actually said. I'm seeing a solo interview question. So I'm going to answer that one. It's from someone on TikTok called, how do we say your name? Ariz. Okay. Thank you, Ariz, for being here and watching this live with us. This is the Q&A session of the live. So I'll try to make sure I catch all the questions before we run out of time. But generally, we're on here every week on Tuesdays and on Thursdays. And then the group, we're there on Fridays, answering just questions one-on-one from our group members. So if you need that type of guidance, if you're not ready to sign up with us, you can join the group. You're going to get much more information within the group to help you with this process, including checklists, interview guides. We have so much going on within the group that I know you'll benefit from. So click on the link in my bio or just text us, send us a text or WhatsApp. We'll send you the link to join, and that will be a great resource for you during this time. Okay? Okay. Adelante, Denise, while I pull up the questions.
Muy bien, entonces vamos ahora a contestar las siguientes preguntas de nuestro Facebook. Y también recordarles, cuando no estén listos todavía para agendar directamente con nosotros, acérquense a nuestro grupo de Facebook. Aquí estamos generalmente en live los martes y los jueves, y el viernes en el grupo de Facebook tenemos sesiones de preguntas 1-a-1 voluntarias. Entonces, si realmente necesitan orientación, pero todavía no quieren agendar con la abogada, pueden hablar con ella directamente a través del grupo de Facebook.
Gracias. So let's get into Ariz's question right away, because this is about an interview after divorce. This is very interesting. This is very interesting because the moment I saw it, I was like, after divorce, is this a removal of conditions type situation or what? Because once you've been divorced, if you're married to a U.S. citizen and that's how you got your green card, essentially you need to still be married. So if you're divorced and you're removing conditions and you get called for an interview, you definitely need to speak to an attorney right away, because what's going to happen during that interview is they're going to ask you questions about your marriage, about if your marriage was real before they actually give you the green card. So even though you have met the requirements for saying you're divorced, that's really going to raise that red flag. Depends. How long were you married before you got divorced? Those are things you'll think about. So tips for solo interviews if you're already divorced. Number one, talk to an attorney. That's number one tip. And then number two, make sure you have your statement as to what's going on. Maybe you need a divorce waiver, as in how did this divorce happen? So those are my tips for you, Ariz. I hope you're still here and I hope this helps you. Give me a thumbs up if this helps you.
Entonces, pues, para una entrevista que te toca hacer solo por alguna razón, número 1, el tip, consigue un abogado, sí va a ser muy necesaria la asesoría directa legal. Y tip número 2, ten preparado tu testimonio de por qué es que sucedió el divorcio. Y pues generalmente el tip número 3, vas a necesitar llenar una forma para explicar el divorcio por tu cuenta para poder seguir con el proceso de la green card solo.
Gracias. Yeah, that'll be my tip for you, Riz. Let me know if you have more follow-ups about that. But thanks for the rose on TikTok. And I see a lot of you sharing this with your friends. That's exactly what you should be doing, sharing with your friends, because they might miss that we're coming on every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So if they miss that, share with them so they can join us now. Okay, I see one actually on Facebook. Yeah, from Chris. So let's answer that one from Chris. This is a long question, Chris. So I'll try my best to kind of scheme through and see what's really the questions about. But I think this has to do with DACA and a DACA recipient filing a green card. So let's see. Chris says, I wanted to ask, okay, about being able to help your husband. Okay. You're a resident or permanent resident filing for spouse is allowed. That's good. And he's a DACA holder. Okay. The lawyer said that he was able to do it, but they were going to try to help him do it here in the US instead of consular process. Okay. That's something, I don't want to go into all of that now, but generally, if you didn't have a visa when you entered without a visa, you have to do the process outside the USA. Okay. So that's a different topic, but okay, they want to do it in the US. Your brother and sister did it in the US. Let's see. The lawyer wrote a letter to immigration stating why he wouldn't be able to go to do the consular. So what is the question, Chris? He has legal entry, and okay, what is the question? Let me
I
know.
think he wants to know, like, the lawyer, he, like, if the husband needs to leave the country,
well,
or not.
He said the lawyer said he'll be able to do it in the USA without him going back. If he has legal entry, then he can adjust his status.
Okay, so he can actually adjust the status, not
because Chris says he has legal entry. Because generally, DACA recipients don't have legal entry. So except he got an I-131. Did your husband get an I-131 and travel out and come back? All right. So you want to see if it's possible for him to fix anything. Well, I'm still not seeing the issue, Chris, because you have a husband who's a DACA recipient who has legal entry with an advanced parole, okay? And now you want to get married and file a marriage-based green card. So if it seems like you all qualify, the main issue might be because you're a permanent resident, and right now the permanent resident category is backlogged. That's the only thing I could see from your question right now. But, you know, if your attorney is telling you that you can do it within the USA, that's because your spouse traveled out and came back, and so they got the stamp. You need your I-94 stamp to be able to adjust your status. So sounds like they got that. There's nothing. It doesn't seem like there's anything to fix here. But if I'm not getting the gist of it, please reach out to me. You can give us a text or a call. Let's talk in more detail. But for right now, it sounds like you're on the right track. Okay, you have an attorney, which is great. Make sure you're getting an attorney to handle your complicated immigration issues. This is not only about filling out forms. This is about your future and about making sure that you're secured, you're able to work, you're able to take care of your family and all of that. ¿Sí? Adelante.
Muy bien, entonces aquí es una persona que ya tiene es un ciudadano permanente, no es ciudadano naturalizado, es un residente, perdón, y está preguntando si él quiere, su esposo no venía con un estatus de residente permanente, quieren saber cómo arreglarlo. En realidad, toda su solicitud está muy limpia, es muy probable que se la otorguen. En realidad, nada más es que las solicitudes de los residentes permanentes están siendo retrasadas. Hay mucha carga de trabajo actualmente y quizás por eso que esté tomando un poco más de tiempo. Si no, de todas maneras, siempre pueden acercarse a nosotros al número de WhatsApp o directamente al email.
Gracias, Denise. I'm going to answer some more questions. I see some more popping up on Facebook and YouTube, but let me get one on TikTok, because TikTok guys have been coming in with the questions. They're always coming in hot, like question after question. So let's try to get into at least one of them or two, and then we can get to the ones on Facebook from Rajan. Oh, Rajan, I remember you from last time. And Olive Tree. All right, awesome. All right, we have Chucky. Oh, Chucky. Chucky is on TikTok. Y'all remember Chucky, that scary movie thing? It's not even that scary anymore, but back then it was. Chucky says, if I get married, how long will it take for me to receive my first green card? This is a timeline question. We talk about timeline here all the time. It could take anywhere from 10 months to 24 months. That's the max, okay? it doesn't take up to 24 months, but we just say that so that you don't freak out when it's been like 12 months and nothing. Okay. Chucky, that's your answer. Rookie, thank you for being here. My Delta sis. I see another question from official Fred. Official Fred. Hi, ma'am. Is it only marriage you talk about? No, Fred, it's not only marriage I talk about. If you were in our lives last week or just seen any of our content, you see that we talk about other types of visas, humanitarian visas. We talk about self-petitions, via self-petition to help people who have been abused by their U.S. citizen relative, not necessarily a spouse, it could be a parent or a child, to file their self-petitions. We talk about U visas, which is for people who have been victims of crimes to help them get their legal status. It may not be a green card right away, but we have ways to help you at least stay here. Okay, we talk about T visas, which is for trafficking, victims of trafficking, especially labor trafficking. That's the most common one, even though the other types of trafficking, but we talk about those things here as well. But generally, like 90% of my cases are marriage-based, and others are just family-based. So we do family-based immigration here at the law firm, and they're just different aspects of that. I hope that answers your question, official Fred. Official Fred. All right. Adelante, Denise. I think I said a lot of good things there that everyone.
Yeah, we have two questions together. We have like the past question. La pregunta pasada, el tiempo, más o menos.
Sí,
¿Cuánto
sí.
tiempo vamos a esperar para que, si estando casado, me den mi green card? Entonces, cualquier rango normal sería 10 meses a 24 meses. Decimos 2 años lo máximo para que no se asusten y de repente no se pongan nerviosos cuando ya pasó un año y todavía no llega su resultado, ¿ok? Ese es un tiempo normal. Y la siguiente sería, si nada más nos dedicamos a hacer o nada más hablamos sobre la aplicación a través del matrimonio para la Green Card. No, en realidad tenemos muchos tipos de temas. Nosotros aplicamos también para las víctimas de tráfico, para las familias que necesitan una petición personal para que han sufrido abuso a través de un ciudadano americano familiar, conocido. Esto aplica para hijos, esposo, abuela, madre. Y pues también hablamos de visas humanitarias. En general tenemos muchos tipos de servicios, pero sí, el 90% de lo que manejamos tiene que ver con una migración a través de la familia, del lazo familiar.
Gracias, Denise, for that. Yeah, I just kind of piled on the two questions because we get timeline questions all the time, and as long as I think that most immigrants, at least most people I work with, if they're able to be protected from deportation, have a work permit and a travel permit, that's generally what most people are looking for. And those don't take the whole time, right? The processing time is different from when you actually start experiencing freedom and living your life in the USA. So make sure you note that it's taking 10 months and all that time, but within like a shorter amount of time, you'll get your work permit, get your travel permit, and you can live freely in the USA. ¿Sí?
Muy bien, entonces sin desesperarse, simplemente hay que ser pacientes. Te van a dar tu permiso de trabajo y te van a dar tu permiso de viaje. Entonces vas a sentirte libre. Sabemos que mientras no, esos procesos se siente uno amarrado, pero después todo va a ser más fácil.
Gracias. I see a question on Facebook from Rajan Paul. He actually asked two questions, but I'll go with the first one about I-864. So let's see. Rajan says, do we need to send a new I-864 if the sponsoring U.S. citizen quit their job? Rajan, the answer is no for right now, because until you get called to an interview or get an RFE or a situation that requires you to actually send in that evidence, or actually you need to send a joint sponsor at this point. Like that's what you need to be sending in. But you don't just send that in once a person quits their job. Okay, it's not, if it's a temporary quit, maybe they're not, they're gonna get a job in the next month. That's totally fine. But if it's something like, okay, they're sick and they can never work again, you most likely will need a joint sponsor, and you can do that at the interview when you get a request for evidence. There are different opportunities where you're going to do that. So once the person quits, it's not like, oh, MG, like, let's do that. No, just, wait. That's your application process. I'll answer your second question next, but, Denise, adelante. Let's see.
Gracias.
Let's help you want to understand.
Muy bien, entonces aquí Rayón pregunta si justo después de que el esposo o nuestra pareja deje su trabajo hay que avisar y volver a llenar una forma I-864. Entonces la respuesta general es no. Inmediatamente eso no es necesario de llenar a menos de que la persona vaya a no ser capaz de volver a trabajar nunca, pero ahí ya necesitarías tener un patrocinador tercero extra. Eso sería, pero hay diferentes fases, tiempos para entregar esta entrevista. Mientras ellos no te piden nada, no es necesario. Vas a tener diferentes oportunidades, como algún citatorio o alguna petición de evidencia extra. Ahí es cuando hay que hacerlo.
Okay. Gracias. Thank you for that. Rajan has another question, but I think we should just move on to Olive Tree's question and make sure that we are getting everyone touched on. Like I said, guys, make sure you're reaching out to us to talk one-on-one, because during these lives, we're kind of like rushing through. So this is not legal advice. It's just essentially guidance to put you in the right mindset, so to kind of lead you into what you need to know for this process. But I'll answer Olive Tree right now and some other ones on TikTok, and then we can keep on going on. I don't know how much longer we have, probably like the next 8 to 10 minutes. We'll try to wrap things up. But essentially, Olive Tree says, do I need my original documents like birth certificate for the interview? Okay, this is a question about interview. Great. Thank you very much, Olive Tree, for being here and asking this question. We're talking today about preparing for your green card interview, so this is perfect. If you have an interview coming up, I think one of the tips that I gave today was that you should gather your documents together, including your original documents. So if you are being called for an interview right now, I think you should have your original birth certificates ready, just in case you were asked at the interview. You most likely will be asked as soon as you get to the interview. What generally happens is the officer just comes up and says, do you have any additional documents for me? That's the first thing they say, because, whatever has happened up until then, let's say you were married for less than 2 years when you applied and 2 years has passed, you bring more bank statements, more, evidence of bona fides type of thing. But here, originals, definitely. Original birth certificate, original marriage license. Make sure you have all that stuff at your interview. Okay, great question, Olive. Thank you for being here. I hope that helps. Give me a thumbs up if you're getting any value from this, if you are learning something and this is helping you. I really appreciate you all being here.
Muy bien, entonces seguiría nada más si para la hora de la entrevista necesitamos traer el original de nuestro acta de nacimiento. Sí, el certificado de nacimiento es importante, como lo mencionamos antes, la mayoría de los papeles te los van a pedir al principio de la entrevista. Ellos preguntan directamente si tú tienes algún papel extra que necesites entregar, y ahí es cuando tú das el original de todo lo que...
Gracias. It seems like our internet was kind of going in and out. Can everyone hear us?
I think ¿Me escuchan bien ahora? Can you hear me good?
Good. I can hear you. So, okay, it's good. All right, great. All right. Okay, so that was a great explanation for that part. I think Olive Tree has another question, but let's answer one on TikTok, and then we can jump back into Facebook and YouTube and answer Rajan, second question, and Olive Tree, second question. Thank you guys for doing your follow-up questions. It helps me understand, your situation, so I can give you as much guidance as I can here today. Okay, so let's see one on TikTok. Let's see. This is from Sarah on TikTok, says, good morning. What should I do if I plan on marrying an undocumented fiance here in the U.S. in 2024? Okay, Sarah, are you a U.S. citizen? I think this question is really going to depend on what your status is. If you're a non-citizen or you're undocumented and you want to get married and you're getting married to another undocumented individual, there's nothing happens. You just get married and live your life, right? But if you're a U.S. citizen and you get married to an undocumented individual, what you should do is start preparing on filing the petition, because I'm assuming that you want to build a future with this person, right? Because otherwise, why are you getting married, right? In a situation whereby you are earning enough and the undocumented fiance has not violated any immigration laws in the past, maybe overstaying or misrepresentation or entry without a visa type of thing, you most likely be qualified to then file for a family petition, adjust the status, and help your fiance get a green card so they can help you build a family, so you all can be able to work, travel, and do things that couples do. So that's what you would essentially do. Is not, I mean, is not any. It just all depends on what your plans are, what your status is, and things like that. See?
Muy
Gracias.
bien, entonces aquí sería nada más que la pregunta. Estoy preparándome para casarme con una persona que no tiene un estatus legal dentro de los Estados Unidos. La respuesta normal o general sería, pues, prepararse para solicitar que poder hacer una vida general con tu esposa. Obviamente estamos buscando que tengas permiso de trabajo para tu esposo o tu esposa, que también tengas permiso de viaje para poder hacer una vida familiar en general.
Gracias. Yeah. So for that one, I'll just move on to Rajan's next question and then Olive Tree's question. On TikTok, there are different comments and things. I'll just have to scroll through and see if there are any questions that I can actually answer. People are kind of just talking back and forth, which I love during these lives because that means you're participating, you're hearing what I'm saying, and it's sparking a conversation. So that's great. Thank you very much. Rajan's other question is about remaining in status while the adjustment status is pending. So Rajan says, I came into the USA on an F1, okay, that's a student visa, and if I don't use the AOS EAD, so you applied for your work permit or your travel permit, but if you don't use it, will you be considered a non-immigrant until the adjustment status is approved? And the short answer is yes, you'll still be in your F1 status until you get a different status like a permanent resident. Okay, so as long as you're still going to school, or if you're in the OPT phase, you're doing your OPT. Because if you stop doing those things, that will drop you from the F1 status, regardless. So as long as you're maintaining that status, even though you have a pending adjustment status, you still can maintain that status. Happens with also asylum cases. If you filed asylum and you got married to a U.S. citizen, you can still maintain the asylum application. Just leave that there. Do your adjustment status. I never encourage anybody to try to, call USCIS or send them a letter saying, hey, by the way, I got married. I don't need your student visa anymore. Goodbye. You never know what's going to happen with that marriage, okay? Let's just wait until everything is finished and then you just adjust. That's the whole adjusting thing. You change your status, okay? All right. So Rajan says, I'm on OPT and still using the OPT EAD. Great. Okay, so you're good to go. I hope that works out for you. If you need more assistance, or you're always coming in my lives, I love that. Thank you. But if you need more help, we do have our phone number and WhatsApp on the screen that you can reach out. Okay. Thank you very much. That was great.
Muy bien, aquí entonces sería nada más, teniendo una visa de estudiante, ya llenó su permiso de trabajo y quiere saber si estando pendiente el resultado aún es considerado un inmigrante. La respuesta general es sí, todavía es un inmigrante y a nadie se le recomienda llamar para avisar que ya no necesitas una visa porque ya te casaste. Entonces, mejor hay que dejar la visa original de estudiante o la que se haya tenido primero porque no sabemos qué va a pasar con ese matrimonio. Entonces, eso es así.
Gracias. Entonces, yeah, love it. So that's all we have. Oh, I think we have one more from Olive. Olive, thank you very much for your question. This is a timeline question. Let's get that one and see. I'm just, checking for time just because I know we have other things coming up. I think consultation or something. So, but let's answer Olive and then I'll look on TikTok and see what's good. Okay. Olive says on YouTube, thank you very much. What is the typical timeline between document submission and an interview? Okay, great question. This is a timeline question, but this is more like, two things. Number one, you may or may not get your interview, okay? Interviews have been waived before. It's not a guarantee, but it could be waived. So when you submit your documents, they could just basically send you a biometrics, and next thing you know, you get your green card in the mail. It's happened here at this firm within 3 months. Every time I say that story, I have to give a disclaimer saying I'm not saying that's going to happen for you, but I'm saying that it can happen. It has happened. Okay, so there was no interview there. So 3 months, submitted the documents, 3 months, green card. But if in your case, I'm not sure where you're located because it all matters. It depends on like state and stuff. In your case, it could take anywhere from 10 months to even that 24 months because they could give you a green card. I mean, sorry, give you a work permit. You can have that work permit for like a year or so, even renew. I've seen people do that. Next thing you know, they call you for an interview. So it could really vary just between the time of you getting your work permit and them calling you. Another client of mine, he got his work permit. Let's say he got it in January. By February, they called him for an interview, and the whole process was like 11 months for him. So he didn't even get to use his work permit as much. So this is another thing, another lesson. If you're waiting for your work permit and you're being stressed out that you don't have it after a short amount of time, I think you can focus your energy on just waiting for your green card, because at the end of the day, the work permit is still not a green card. It's just a work permit. It will give you ease and peace and all that, which I want for you, but don't make it more difficult on yourself by kind of stressing out. Remember, the last tip for today was stay calm. Okay, staying calm in this process is very crucial, because when you're level-headed and you're calm, you can make better choices and better decisions for your immigration journey. Okay.
Muy bien, entonces pues para la última pregunta, ¿cuánto tiempo va a pasar desde que dejo mis documentos a la entrevista? Uno, también existe el escenario, no es seguro que te pase a ti, pero pasa, en las que no hay entrevista y directamente pasan después de un corto tiempo a darte tu green card ya en mano. Pero como el último tip que habíamos dicho, es importante no desesperarse, ser paciente. Entonces, generalmente entre los 10 a 12 meses, de 10 a 24 meses es que ya vas a estar obteniendo una entrevista.
Gracias. I'm seeing a lot of thumbs up in the comments. That means a lot of people are getting value from this. I am excited for that. Thank you for being here. Without you, this live will not even be holding, right? And then without Denise, we won't be able to reach all the people that we're reaching. So it's perfect. It's great. I want to still answer a few more questions. Let's see here. Patricia, I think you already told me that before, when our consultation is, but okay, I'll just give them 5 more minutes. But thank you for those who have been asking questions, to Olive, to Rajan, to who else have I answered on here on TikTok? Sarah, Ariz, thank you. Let's see. Can you see any good ones for me on TikTok? Any ones that I could potentially answer? Because I'm just kind of scrolling through right now and trying to pick one. Or maybe you can just ask again, because you all have been asking questions and I've just not picked up on them. So, okay, user number on TikTok says, 1 month I attended interview, but no decision yet. Okay, so this is an interview related question. So 1 month you attended an interview, no decision yet. Thank you for that question. This is very typical. This is actually very typical. I've had a case that lasted up to a year before we got a decision. Why? Just because that couple needed time to build their relationship. So they wanted to really give them that time, because at the initial application, there was just not much that they had. And, every family is going to be different. So 1 month after the interview is not a bad wait time. I think after 120 days, user, make sure that you're contacting the USCIS to say, hey, it's been 120 days. By the policy, they're supposed to give you a decision in 120 days. It might not be an approval. It could be an RFE. It could be something. They have to do something after an interview, after 120 days. So just keep an eye out for that. 1 month is still, it's still pretty early, and all of that. All right.
Muy bien, entonces para saber si cuánto tiempo hay que esperar para una decisión después de la entrevista, comenta aquí que ha esperado por 1 mes. 1 mes es el tiempo completamente normal. Después de 120 días, por política, ellos están obligados a darte una decisión. Entonces asegúrate de que 120 días después tú le llamas y preguntas sobre tu respuesta.
Gracias, everyone who comments, and Denise. So I think user got his answer here. let's see. After 2 years, oh, this is from Black. Black, this is not a question. I saw this before, but I feel for you, and I put an emoji there to let you know that I feel for you. But as a U.S. citizen, when this happens, it's just an unfortunate situation. Now, your spouse, who's a non-citizen, is going to have to deal with whatever immigration consequences there are if this really happened. Black says after 2 years of temporary green card, she moved out. Can I file for a divorce? Because essentially the non-citizen has moved out after getting their temporary green card. So, I can't really speak on the entire situation since we're not, I don't know what's causing the moving out situation and all of that. If everything seemed normal and you're the U.S. citizen, I mean, it's really, you don't need a green card, right? So if you want to file for divorce, if you want to, whatever you want to do in terms of getting your own peace of mind and freedom, you can do that. And then the non-citizen will in turn find their own way to either get their green card or they may not get the green card. It just really depends. But as a U.S. citizen, I don't really have much assistance for you per se, but because you're already free, you can do what you want. Okay,
Bien,
but thank
entonces
you
aquí,
for asking. Yes, gracias. Sí.
disculpa. I'm sorry. Yes. So, normalmente aquí si se van a divorciar de una persona que ya tuvo su green card por 2 años temporal, pero ahora se ha mudado y se quiere separar, generalmente al ciudadano americano pues no tiene ningún mayor efecto, pero la única respuesta sería que para la persona que se separa del ciudadano americano va a tener que lidiar con las consecuencias migratorias, pero el ciudadano americano pues ya es libre, ya puede estar en paz y si gusta divorciarse es parte de su propia decisión.
All right. Thank you very much. I see a question about EB2 timeline. Official Fred, we do family-based immigration, so I don't know what to tell you about EB2 timeline. EB means employment-based, so you can check that out on the USCIS website. They usually let people know essentially what's the timeline on the website is not all accurate, right? Because it fluctuates, but at least to give you like a little bit of an idea of what's going on. And remember, it's also state by state as well. Okay. So thanks for the likes and the follows, guys. I think we have gone through most of the questions here. I see something about F1 student, 90 days before you get married. Oh, yes. Anyone who enters on a non-immigrant visa that's not a fiance visa is not, if you get married right away, that's going to create red flags and issues for you. So I'm not sure what was going on there, rookie, but that sounds like a conversation about waiting 90 days before you do get married or try to adjust your status, anything like that, especially on a student visa, because there's going to be questions. Did you really come in here to go to school? Did you even attend classes? Like as soon as you came in, you married somebody and what's going on? So they're going to definitely, let you know. Official Fred, you were welcome. I'm glad at least you got some clarity from this live. So Denise, adelante. After this, I feel like we can wrap it up. I've looked through TikTok. I didn't really see any new questions coming in, but feel free to join us every week here on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, and on TikTok, of course. Let's talk about immigration tips, immigration issues, and answer your questions, help you feel confident about your process.
Muy bien, muchas gracias por acompañarnos. No duden en tomarse en contacto con ustedes. Aquí está nuestro número de WhatsApp, también por ahí está nuestro email y estamos para servirles en cualquiera de sus preguntas acerca de inmigración. Estamos muy contentos de poder apoyarlos.
All right. Yeah, well, I think we did a good live today. We did actually more time than I was gonna do 30 minutes, but it's basically 50 minutes now. So, but it's great. It's fun for me. I love talking to you all, and it seems like you all love talking to me. So let's meet again on Thursday. Our topic for that time, let me see if I can see that one. But our topic is gonna be great though. Just pay attention on our pages, subscribe turn on your notifications if you're on Instagram or Facebook so you can know when I go live exactly. TikTok, guys, you all are always here watching me doing my lifestyle lives and everything. So you're going to catch me on Tuesdays and Thursdays regardless, okay? So let's do this again. I'm grateful for all of you. I'm truly blessed to be here, being your lawyer, talking to you all about these things and just enjoying my life. So thank you again. Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
See. All right. So bye-bye.